our next speaker before break, you get to have narration it one more time. But you have to do activities first.
Just can't have one.
Hi everyone. I'm here to introduce next speaker.
No, you get out there,
I have been in the sports and fitness world my whole life and always imagined I will have a fitness career. However, I tried out most fitness-related jobs: personal trainer, class instructor, sport coach, strength and conditioning coach, gym manager, and I realized I was only giving clients a quick fix that made them happy in the moment. I was not teaching them how to have a consistently healthy life in all areas. I became a health coach to teach people how to, as a natural behavior, be the best version of themselves so they can love their life and love others fully. Let's welcome our next speaker, Amos, below with round of applause.
First of all, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me, and thank you for caring for other people. The work that you do is amazing. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure that's why you got involved in it, and that's the same reason that I got involved in health and life coaching. It's because I love caring for other people. Today I want to talk not only about caring for other people, but caring for yourself. It's easier to care for other people sometimes than it is to care for ourselves, okay? So we're going to get into that. But before we do, like she said, take out those sheets that you have. We're going to start with the one that says top 5 priorities at the top. Again, you're going to get 10 times more out of this talk if you participate and write down information specific to you and your life. Because I can give examples, but it's not your life. So I need you to write this down. Start by writing down your top 5 priorities right now. Examples would be family, kids, health, job, whatever it is to you. Now, this information isn't for you to share. You don't have to share it with anyone or with me. But it's for you to be clear as to what your priorities actually are. And I'm curious, as we go through this talk today, whether those priorities start to shift, maybe. Or maybe you'll realize that you write down that those are your priorities, but maybe your actions don't line up with them. We're going to figure out why that is and how to actually get your actions to line up with your priorities that you wrote down, if that is the case. Before we do that, I want to tell you a story about someone I've been working with recently. And he's from Arizona, and so he gets to get on these phone calls. I only met him a couple months ago. And he's in the business of, he was in the business of caring for other people. And as I get to know people, I have to figure out their whole background. I want to know everything about them. And what I found out was, when he was a kid, his dad was a principal at a school. And as a principal, if you know teachers and coaches and pastors, jobs like that, you give everything to everyone around you. Maybe the job that you have too. His dad especially would give all of his time to other people. He would volunteer all his extra time to coaching and volunteering for events. He would come home at 10 p.m., wake up at 4 a.m., family hardly saw him, because he'd always be putting everyone else's time ahead of his own, even ahead of his own families. So my friend grew up seeing this, and it didn't upset him. He admired it about his dad. He thought it was a good thing. He thought, this is what good people do. They always put everyone else's time and needs ahead of their own. So he wanted to emulate that. So fast forward a couple years, and he's about to go to high school, and his parents want to send him to boarding school with the intention that he follow in the same path, at least think about becoming a teacher or a pastor like him. He didn't want to go at all, but he had this belief that had been built in his mind, well, it's not what I want, It's what other people want. I'm going to do what my parents want, respect them. So he goes to boarding school, ends up going through high school, through a preparatory college as well, becomes a teacher, just like his dad. Gets a call to a school, and then he does everything, just like his dad. He gives all his time to other people. He stops prioritizing himself, well, he never has. He volunteers for every single event. He coaches. He doesn't care for himself anymore. And then we meet. 4 years later, two teaching jobs later, he quits, he's drained, he hates his life, he hates teaching, he can't give a drop more to other people. So when we meet, he's depressed, he's lonely, he hates himself, he has self-doubt, and he's stuck in a rut. Just plays video games. Just stays at home, watches movies. So just recently, we're on a phone call. This is coming to a head, so we have to jump on a phone call, and we're talking over a long period of time, and you can just hear in his voice the self-hatred and the self-doubt coming out with what he's saying. We're trying to work through some of these challenges, and he's like, why the heck would I deserve this stuff? I should be caring for other people, but I just can't. It's impossible for me to have anything good. Successful people are just lucky. They just fall into it. There's no way that I could get that. There's no way that I could be confident. And then towards the end of the call, we're about an hour in, and it gets silent for about a minute. I can hear him thinking. This part surprised me. He says, Amos, I've been having thoughts about suicide. So how do you prove to someone that they're worth it when they've never believed that they are? When they've never given themselves a minute in the day to care for themselves, but always put all their energy into other people? How do you prove to someone in that state how to do that? The only way is to show them. Show them why it's so important. Show them what would actually happen if you cared for yourself. And then how to do it. And support them along the way. So today, I have the pleasure of showing you why prioritizing yourself and caring for yourself might just be the best way to take care of other people. We're going to cover how letting other people's thoughts motivate you instead of holding you back. We're going to find out where you need attention in your specific life. That's why we have to write this stuff down. How to shift your mindset so you're actually open to more. You're actually open to trying again after everything has failed up to this point. And then how to actually take action right now instead of just coming to a talk like this and then tomorrow going back to the way things have always been. You got to actually make something out of this. So before I do that, I'm going to need someone to come up here. Would you please come up here with me? Okay. What's your name? Rachel, nice to meet you. Okay. What I want Rachel to do, what I want you to do, Rachel, or try to do, just try to do it. I want you to do this. As best as you can. Ready?
No.
Okay. Why don't you want to try? But what if you tried? What do you think everyone would be thinking if you tried?
They'd be laughing.
Laughing, why? Why would they be laughing at you?
That's not me.
Okay. So are they laughing because you can't do it? Is that what's holding you back? Is that they'd laugh at you? Because even if you tried, even if you just did a somersault. It's okay. Go ahead, sit down. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, let's see you do that. Yeah.
I'll do it when you're writing. I'll start doing hands. So the point I'm trying to make here, is it true that we change our actions based on what other people would think of us? Yes. I do that. But if I were to do that, if I were to come here today and start thinking or start believing that you guys were looking at me thinking, this is the last talk, or one of the last talks of this 2-day convention, I'm tired. Why would I listen? This sucks. I just want to eat. If I was believing that you thought that, if you were looking at me thinking, isn't this guy kind of young? What the heck could he teach me about life? Or what does a guy know about what's going on in a woman's mind? So if I let myself be thinking all these thoughts, believing that you're thinking them, it would have been really hard to get up here today. I probably would have just said, what's the point? I shouldn't even come. So in that way, my thoughts and your fake thoughts that I'm putting in your mind would have controlled my actions. Okay. So what I want to do right now is share a personal story and shift this so that people's thoughts and feelings, or perceived thoughts and feelings, aren't going to be holding you back anymore, but they're actually going to motivate you into action. I want to change this. I don't want to make you stop doing this, because it's almost impossible to stop doing this. But I want to use the same process, the same method that our brain uses in a positive way, as a positive tool to move forward instead of a dysfunctional tool, again, that changes our actions and stops us from following through. Okay? So, picture I have here is a kickboxing picture. I used to be the manager at 9 Round Kickboxing Club, as she mentioned. And I want to take you there. I want to take you to a specific situation that happened over and over and over again, a specific conversation that I had with people that walked into the door. Okay, so we're at the gym. Just picture it with me. There's 8 people. They're all punching, kicking. If you've ever done kickboxing, it's a lot of fun. And everyone's working hard, sweat's dripping. I'm calling out, let's go, let's go. I'm doing pad work. And then someone new walks in through the door. So I run over to her. My example was going to be Rachel. So Rachel walks in through the door. You can picture her as Rachel. I say, welcome to 9 Round. I'm so happy you're here. My name's Amos. What's your name? Rachel. Okay. Have you ever been to 9 Round Kickboxing Club before? No. Have you ever done kickboxing? No. That's okay. I'll teach you everything. Now this part's important. Listen closely. Rachel, why did you come here? What are your goals that you're trying to achieve? I want to feel healthier and better. So let me pause. How many of you think that Rachel's actually going to follow through with exercising consistently based on those awesome goals and motivators? Basically 0% of people will follow through if they just want to be healthier. Everyone wants to be healthier and feel better. It's going to mean something. That means nothing. It's very vague. So I asked her, okay, Rachel, if you felt healthier and better, what would that look like? You'd be more confident and energetic. Yes, okay. If you were more confident and energetic, what would that do for you? Why is that important to you to get? Well, I would play with my kids when I come home from work. I'd enjoy work more. I'd actually work harder and like it. I'd talk to my husband and listen to him when I get home. And I'd want to go hang out with friends. But when they ask me, instead of just saying, no, probably not, no, something came up and it didn't. Awesome. Those are really great reasons. Okay, what's the best part of having all those things? Imagine you had all those things. What would be the best part? Well, my husband and my relationship would actually get better instead of leading to arguments. My kids would look up to me and be healthier because I'm becoming healthier. My friends would want to be around me. They'd keep asking me to go out, and I'd be asking them to go out. And my boss would be super happy. And this promotion that's open right now, I'd probably get that too. Whoa. Those are some awesome goals, Rachel. Let me say that one more time to make it clear. I'm going to take out the first part and the middle part. Okay, Rachel, what kind of goals are you trying to achieve? Why did you come see me today? I want to feel healthier and more energetic and confident so that I play with my kids when I come home. I talk to my husband and spend time with him. I enjoy my work and put all of my effort into it. And I want to hang out with my friends so that my friends start asking me to go out more. Maybe I'd be a maid of honor or something like that. My kids would look up to me and be healthier. They'd be proud. My relationship would be close. My husband would say, I love you before we go to bed. Yeah, I'd probably get a promotion too. Awesome. Sweet. So, what do you think those people in her life would be thinking or feeling towards her if she actually made the time to prioritize herself and started exercising? This is just one example of exercise, but what would her kids be thinking? What would her husband be thinking? What would her boss be thinking? What would her friends be thinking if she maybe said no to them to prioritize herself and exercise? What were the words? Proud, love, appreciate, promote. You're doing good work. Okay, so this is Rachel's example, but it doesn't mean anything unless it's applied to your life. And so, looking at that second part of the handout, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Let's figure out what your friends, family, or boss will be thinking about you if you prioritized yourself and your health and feeling energetic and feeling happy. So work through those 4 questions. And if you were serious about me doing a handstand, I will do one. You want me to? You gotta keep writing that. It's the important part. I don't know if I could do it just like that. Oh, shoot. So I was going to mention, what people would have been thinking about you probably, if you had tried that, is that you were brave for doing that, thankful for you being the one to come up here and do that, and impressed. Better alternative. Make these as specific as possible, too. Okay, so who's to the last question? Who's done with it? Still going? One. Okay, keep working on that if you're not to the last question, but the last question, again, you don't have to share the first 3 with me, but what would other people in your life realistically, not what you believe because of what you've grown up thinking, what would they realistically be thinking about you, and how would they react if you were to start prioritizing yourself by taking care of your body, feeling healthy, feeling energetic? I need 3 examples from you guys. Because I just had one example, but I need a real example from someone that wrote it down. Who wants to do that? Yeah?
They would be happy for me because I'm trying to change myself.
Yes, they'd be happy for her. It's a great one.
Follow our example. Follow my example.
Yeah, they'd be inspired to follow your example. They'd look up to you. They're happy for you. They're following your lead.
Respect.
They'd respect you. That's a huge one. They'd respect you. All right, I want one more. These are good.
Fierce.
What's that?
Being fierce.
They think you're fierce. What do you mean by that?
Not you go for put me in.
That's okay.
But basically, you're not afraid to do what you need to do, even even if it's hard for anybody else to do.
Absolutely. You're not someone who just follows along or gives up. You're fierce. You follow through. You go for it when other people would back out. So that's how they'd be seeing you. Not only your kids looking up to you and acting like you, but trust me, your husband will too. He's stubborn. He's not always on board. And sometimes it takes a long time. But he has to choose to do that himself. You can't just tell him to. This happens all the time, trust me. Your husband also looks at you and gains a lot from that experience. Okay? That's cool. That's what they realistically be thinking. That's great. So I have a specific example myself, a nice thorough example from someone that a lot of you actually know. Someone that's very inspiring. People think she's fierce. She doesn't give up. They're happy for her. They want to follow her lead. They look up to her. Her name is Miss Erica Ahrens. Yes. She deserves that. That's how they think about you. So Erica, she's gone through an awesome change in her life. And she let me ask her a couple questions so that I could share with you what started the shift from when she wasn't prioritizing herself and putting everyone else first to what happened when she was prioritizing herself and how that changed and influenced her life and her day. So I have her quote here. I'm not going to paraphrase. I asked her, Erica, how did you usually feel day to day before prioritizing yourself? Here's what she said. And by the way, before. I was exhausted. I wasn't happy. I reacted to most things in a negative way. I didn't want to spend time with people. I was not confident in myself, my actions, or my life direction. I had lower back pain almost every morning. I had knee and hip pain. Every day was painful. I put everyone else's needs ahead of my own needs. I always agreed to help or get some task done that wasn't mine, instead of paying attention to myself. I sometimes avoided things due to being so tired, and I spent a lot of time sitting on the couch. I would even make my cousins or my niece do things, simple things, so that I wouldn't have to get up. I dealt with life through eating and drinking, and thinking back, I don't think I was truly enjoying my life. I was just going through the motions. This might be difficult for her to have me read, but thank you again for letting me read this to them. This shows that she was giving everything to everyone else, always putting everyone else's needs ahead of her own, but her life was just stagnant, not enjoyable, forgotten. And so she decided to make a change. So I asked her the same question, what was your life like day to day after you started prioritizing yourself? Here's what she said. I walk into a room with my shoulders back and my head held high. I have spent the last 14 and a half months focusing on my physical, mental, and emotional health. I am much more confident and proud of who I am. I am much more positive, and people want to be around me. I have a lot more energy. I look forward to getting up each morning. I enjoy going to work, and I've improved at it. I look forward to, I'm not pushing tasks off to others. I am much happier and gracious with patients and staff. My patients have definitely taken notice, and they even ask for help and suggestions on what they can do to make small changes in their lives. I'm excited to go do things again with friends. I don't have time to sit around anymore. I'm not as annoyed to help my family, which is a funny one. I am much more active with my nephews and niece, and more present with my family and friends. There was a lot more laughter and lightheartedness that definitely was missing. Erica, you are a superstar. I think we can all agree on that. And the cool thing about this is that Erica didn't set out necessarily to inspire other people or to have patients come to her asking for suggestions and tips. She wanted to prioritize herself. She did it for herself. And now what she's found out is that every other area of her life is being influenced. She's inspiring people. People are wanting to follow her lead. They're happy for her. They clap for her. They want her help. That's what they think about her. So this example, we're focused primarily on, fitness and eating, some emotional health as well, along with that. But that's not always the case. So you can find people that are the healthiest people you could find, like the healthiest body. They take care of their body, they exercise, they eat right, but they're still miserable. Why is that? Because you can't separate health and life. They go together. If you're healthy, you have to have a healthy relationship with food and body, absolutely, exercise, yes. But also your family, your friends, your career, your money, your God. That's health. If one area is out of whack, if you're pissed off at God for everything, why the heck would you try? If you are always getting in arguments with your spouse and you want to get a divorce, how do you think your kid's feeling? You're going to be stress eating. You're not going to be able to sleep. It's all connected. And so this next exercise is for us to figure out where in your life there needs to be some attention given. Okay, this is called the Wheel of Life. It's one of my favorite exercises that I get to do with people because this can really get clear on which part of your life may not be healthy. Maybe it's not fitness. Maybe it's not health. Maybe it's something else. This is how we can figure it out. So how it works is, as you're looking there, this is a wheel. So there's spokes on a wheel. Each category is right by one of those lines or spokes. You're going to put a dot closer to the middle if you're dissatisfied with that area, if you're not getting enough attention there enough. And the dot closer to the outside if you are satisfied with that area. If it's great, you're giving a lot of attention there. So go ahead and do that right now. Take your time, be intentional, be honest. This is important. This is something you can do every single month, too. It's not just a one and done. That's the other cool thing about health. You don't have to get to an end goal. It's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong process. Things constantly change. Things that you can't control, things that you can control. There's going to be dips. But you can always strive for more, strive for excellence. Once you're done with those dots, go ahead and connect them so it's very clear what your wheel looks like. And just for fun, imagine that this wheel is attached to a car, or a motorcycle, or a unicycle. That's even better. What do you think is going to happen? Yeah. Crash and burn. Fall in the bush. Skin your knees. Hit your head. Destroy the car. And then go through the questions as well. So just pick one area today. Just one area. Which area is the lowest? It's going to be way too overwhelming to focus on the whole thing at once. So pick one area, the lowest one. So looking at that, I just want to ask you a question. How many of you knew that that was your low area? A lot of hands. Most people. Most people know where their low area is, but what are you doing to give attention to it? What are you doing to change that? Okay. And then next question. Let me look at mine. would be impacted? Imagine, who would be impacted if you started giving attention to that area? If that started bumping out, who would be impacted? And how? Write it down. Write it down because it means a lot more to you if you do it. If you don't actually know how they're going to feel, how they're going to react, aren't you going to want to do it a little bit more? And then after you know how, this is the most important part, always. Take action on it. The third one, write yourself an action or an action step to start working on this area this week, not next month. Something you can do, something you can take control of and responsibility of, not when they do this, then I'll forgive them. I got to talk to someone yesterday about this. I still, just for fun, work part-time at Nine Round, and someone came in and was talking to me about her marriage. Because I've understood that her and her husband come and work out together, but there's always so much tension because they got married at about 35 years old, and their money is separate. And they're like, well, you have to pay 50%, you have to pay 50% of the bills. And then both of them are just shaking their head, that doesn't happen. They say the same thing. And it's tearing them apart. So instead of giving her a good workout, at least for the first half, I made her talk to me. I didn't make her, but... And she talked to me. By the end of it, her eyes are red. Got tears coming down her face. She did not want, for over 10 years, we're about 45 now, for over 10 years, she has not been forgiving or trusting him. Forgiveness comes first, then trust. Forgiveness is hard, I tell her. But she was not going to forgive him until he started acting up, acting better, paying 50% of the bills, showing that he could open up to her. No one was doing anything to fix that situation for 10 years. So I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to stand by and not talk to her about it and wait for them to get a divorce. We got to take action on that stuff before it tears you apart. So make that action step very specific. Don't just say, I'm going to start working out. Or I'm going to talk to my mother, who I haven't talked to for 20 years. Because she did this one thing that wronged me, and I have a grudge. Say, I'm going to call her on the phone on Monday at 4 p.m., because that's when she's free. I know that. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to take a deep breath, run yourself through the situation. That's making an action step. It's going to be easier to follow through if you actually have everything already planned out, so do that too. Okay? So now what we've been talking about, we figured out that if you started prioritizing yourself and caring for yourself, other people would actually be happy for you. They follow your lead. They think you're fierce. Great. We know which area of your life is low and which area you want to focus on. We have an action step, how you're going to follow through and give attention to that area. And then we've even seen an awesome example of someone you know personally, not just me, not just my examples, but Erica. What happened when she did it? This is all clear to you, so it should be easy to follow through, right? No, it's still not. Following through is the most difficult thing that we've ever done. Especially when we haven't been able to do it before, especially when we don't think we can. But why don't we think we can? If we know that eating healthy food is what we're supposed to do, and exercising consistently is what we're supposed to do, we should forgive people, that's what we're supposed to do. You know that. Why don't you do it? Why do you still come home and watch Netflix instead of talking to your husband? Why do you still sleep in every single day? Why do you go to bed at 1 a.m.? Why don't you play with your kids? Let's figure it out. This is the last part. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather do something positive, more positive, or less positive? More positive. Absolutely. 100% of the time. Would you rather do something with less negatives or more negatives? Less negatives. More satisfying or less satisfying? Usually more satisfying. So if that's true, do you agree with me? Couple nods. If you agree with me, then do you actually think that it's more positive in your mind to change and to be healthy and to take care of yourself? No. You want to stay where you are. That's why things haven't changed. So don't judge yourself for that. There's a perfectly good reason, and I'll explain. But that's what you want. You always get what you want. We always do. We always create the reality that we're telling ourselves. Okay? I'll explain. I had a client who came to me, and she had all the right reasons for wanting to change. She wanted to lose weight, to feel more confident and energetic. She was in the same spot as the guy at the start, hated herself, was not able to say she loved herself since she was 16 years old, and she's 46 now. 30 years. 30 years of despising what she looks like, of just going steady through life. I ask her, what excites you? I don't know. Every time. We start breaking through this. We start working together. We start going through information. It makes sense. It makes sense what she wants. There's positives. She can see that. It seems like there's so many things that would change her relationship as well. She has no intimacy with her husband. She doesn't take care of her kids in the way she wants to. She doesn't even make food at home. She always goes out to eat. She knows it's not right. She doesn't change. Okay, so we start attaching all these positives to changing. Yes, let's make some action. I give her action steps throughout the week. She sort of works on them, sort of tries, sort of thinks about it. I ask her, what's going on? She says, I don't know. So I had to keep digging. I mean, this is a long process. I dig and dig and dig. What's going on? I know there's something that's holding you back. I know there's something that's really negative or really positive about staying where you are. Okay, I tell her that, and we figure out through a lot of digging that there's a brick wall. And when you're working with someone, you can work through obstacle after obstacle, challenge after challenge with me. But if there's a brick wall at the end, you're not going anywhere. You're going to hit that brick wall, you're going to ricochet back to where you were, just like a tennis ball. So what's that brick wall? We had to figure it out. So I'm digging, and finally, I pull it out of her. She says, 5 years ago, I started a program, and it was working. I was losing weight. I was doing the shakes and the bars. That's the type of program you do. She was feeling better. She was staying consistent. She was following through. And then her dad dies. That hit her so hard. She was close to him. She bounces right back to where she was. Gains even more weight. Feels even more terrible about it. Going back to her comfort zone. Okay? 3 years later, fast forward, she tries again. Finally musters up the courage, is done mourning. Tries again, does another program. Staying consistent, eating healthy, jumping through the hoops. And then her mom gets cancer. And again, bounces back to where she was, gains the weight back, feels terrible, despises herself, isn't caring for her family in the way she wants to. And now, she's built a wall in her mind. That's a belief that has now been formed in her mind that she cannot climb over, no matter how hard we try. There's barbed wire at the top. We can't go around it. We can't ignore it. It's the Great Wall of China. What you gotta do in this situation, you gotta deconstruct the wall and rebuild another one with a gate. Form a new belief. This is hard. But this is why she couldn't follow through. Okay? Now, if you were happy and fulfilled, wouldn't it be easier to take care of others? If you were unhappy and unfulfilled and despised yourself, Wouldn't it be difficult to love others? So we have to create some new beliefs, and there's two different methods that I want to give you, or two different things that you can use together. It's funny because when people say, I want to change, they think the first step is forward, right? That makes sense. You just have to take the first step. I'm going to tell you, the first step is backwards. Okay? The first step is back, because when you're stuck in your belief in what you're telling yourself, you're going to go the same direction every single time. You're already on a path. But until you can step back and see what's going on, ask yourself, who's around me when I make this decision? How would I like to be acting? What would I like to be thinking? What do I have to do to make this happen? What would it look like if I did? Then now you can see the alternate path. You can step back in a third-person perspective and analyze it and choose a different path. That's the first thing. It's huge. The first step to go forward is backwards. Take out the judgment and the emotion of yourself. There's a perfectly good explanation. Trust me. The second method is the both and more method. When you catch yourself saying an either-or statement to yourself, I can either do this or I can do this, that's a belief. You're forcing yourself into this path. You're constraining yourself. If you say both and more, you can open your mind up to new possibilities. Let me explain. This is for the client I had. I can either get healthy and something bad will happen, or I can stay put where I don't like myself and nothing bad will happen. This is her belief. This is the brick wall that we came up against. If that's true to her, that was a way bigger negative than all the positives that we had for changing. There's no way she's going to change. She had a bigger reason to stay put where she was. Makes sense. I asked her to change it to I can both get healthy, love myself, take care of my body, lose weight, and if something bad happens, I will be more capable of handling it. I will be more capable of supporting my family as they're mourning. Let me give you a simpler example. This is a common one, actually. I can either eat healthy food and not enjoy life and good food because it doesn't taste good. Healthy food doesn't taste good. I don't like it. Or I can eat unhealthier foods, fried foods, ice cream, blah, 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 but you can still have those things, that I love. That's a belief that people have. So why the heck would they eat healthy food if they don't like it? Why would you do something you don't like? That's never sustainable. You're never going to stick to it. You have to do something you like. Change it to I can both eat healthy food and it can taste great. Healthy food can taste good. And I will have more energy and joy because of it, without the shame, the guilt, the extra weight. And one more example, and this is my main point for today. I can either prioritize myself, or I can take care of other people and prioritize them. You make yourself choose, like, well, it's good. It's a good thing. People admire it about me. I always put other people first, and I neglect myself. It's a good thing. That's why I do this. Change it. I can both take care of myself and take care of other people even better than before. And then they're going to respect me. They'll admire me. They'll follow in my footsteps. My husband will actually change. And we'll have a closer relationship. That sounds better. It sounds better to me. Just changing those words can open you up to way more for yourself and for the people you love. I have a picture here of a book. I specifically chose this one because it doesn't look like there's writing on it. So imagine this is your life. And you've already had this amount of life. Those pages are written, sure. But the ones in the future, you have no idea what that's going to be like. Anything can happen. I could drive home and get hit by a truck. It's empty. It's blank. Don't write your story before you live it. Every page forward is blank. You have a choice. You can write your own story. Your beliefs, try to write it for you. Change your beliefs or drop them. Be neutral. Analyze, step back. Create what you want. I have another picture of an oxygen mask. This is a common thing. People ask me when I'm writing this presentation, they say, I have a perfect picture for you. Do the oxygen mask one. I'm like, it's already in there. Because everyone sees it, everyone knows this. I couldn't even find an airplane that was not copyrighted. But same concept. Put your own oxygen mask on before you put on someone else's. Why? Why would you do that? If you're a firefighter, if you don't have your oxygen mask on, you're going to drop down and die before you can carry that baby out or carry your friend out of the house. So now both of you are in the house. But if you take care of yourself and put on your own oxygen mask first, you're going to be able to pull him out of there, be a hero, be close to him, save him. So let me recap. Sorry for it being crunched. We've talked about how we can let other people's thoughts and feelings actually motivate us instead of stopping us from doing a handstand. Instead of stopping us from taking care of ourselves and getting a gym membership or fixing the relationship and taking the first step towards forgiveness. They're going to be happy about that. Focus on your low area and take action on it. Take that sheet with you, please. Because otherwise this talk means nothing. You knew what your low area was, but you weren't doing anything about it, maybe. But you wrote an action step, follow through with it. That's the first step. You gain motivation, you gain action, and you know why you're doing it. And change your mindset. If you have a brick wall, and you're realizing that now, if you tried 3 programs, but every single time you fall back and you can't do it. It's impossible. You're like the guy at the beginning that I talked to, I'm still working with. He thinks it's impossible. But change your mindset, and you'll be open to the idea of maybe it is possible. How do I do it? The other 2 things that make this possible for you and make it easier to follow through are support and accountability. You can have the right steps in place. You can know what you have to do, which we all know what we have to do. But these are 2 other pieces that make following through almost inevitable if you get the right kind. Ask for support from the people around you. Build trust, build this love and encouragement, but also have accountability. Yes, it's great to be happy where you are. I promote that. But also strive for excellence. Be better. Try more. Do handstands just because. You need someone to make you do that sometimes. To hold you accountable. Say, hey, I saw that you put that as your low area. I was sitting next to you. How are you going to follow through with that? You didn't write an action step. Okay. Write an action step. Hold them to that. So if you want, please take out that next sheet. This is just a way to get support and accountability if you so desire. I would love to provide that for you. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. And as you look at that sheet, you can ask me any question you want to know more about, and I'll reach out to you. Get clear on the biggest obstacle or challenge that's in your life. Being clear about it is the first step back to analyzing and figuring out what to do. And then I'd love to offer you 5 more of those wheel exercises specific to each area of your life. And then it goes into more detail. If you know what your low area is, you can get a wheel that has like 8 more categories in that, and then you can make it easier to follow through because you know what's exactly going on. So I'll give you 5 more of those just over email. And then a free one-on-one clarity call with me. It's a 45-minute call with me where I can talk to you about this stuff. Be that step that you take to figuring out what's going on. What are my biggest challenges? What do I actually want for myself? What do I see as my ideal health? And how the heck do I get there if I've never been able to do it before? So I hope this is very useful to you, this talk. But I want to offer more. If you don't just want to stay where you are right now. I have this picture because isn't it funny that when we're kids, we know that when we play with our kids, when we reward them, same thing with pets, when we give them treats when they're doing something good, they're going to keep wanting to do that behavior. It motivates them. You appreciate the progress, the success. And it's easy to do this with other people, but how often do you appreciate yourself? Hardly ever. I say the how are you good I hear the how are you good conversation like 80 times a day when I was a manager at 9 Round. I learned nothing about them. They don't actually think their day's going good usually. They just say it. That's just what it is. So I asked them purposefully every time, what's going well? What are you looking forward to? It's so difficult for people to answer that because they don't appreciate themselves. So challenge yourself at least once a day. Ask someone what's going well. Make them think about what they can appreciate about their day, about themselves. It's the same structure. It's 3 words. Just as easy as saying, how are you? But it changes their whole mentality. It changes yours too. But I don't just want to leave it at that. I've already talked about embarrassment, and I've asked people to talk out loud. So I'm going to ask all of you one more time to do something for me. I want you to say out loud, I appreciate myself. Please do that.
I appreciate myself.
Thank you. And the reason I make you do it out loud is because you may not realize, and I'm not going to make people raise hands here, but for some of you, it's easy to say that. You feel confident that you can say that. You're okay with it. But for others of people in here, it's not easy to do. I talk to a lot of people who cannot say they appreciate themselves without crying. That's a real thing. So say it. Make yourself say it. And then ask yourself what's going well. Make yourself think about it. I have one more quote from Erica that I really want to read to you. And it's her kind of reflecting on what she appreciates now. So, I'm going to read this to you. This is pretty recent. Erica says, I started this journey because I wanted to survive Disney. I wanted to be able to fit on a plane again without a seatbelt extender, because you can't sit in the emergency row with a seatbelt extender, and she needed that room because she's tall. However, somewhere along the journey, things changed. My relationship with food has changed. I don't see food as comfort or a means for emotional comfort. It truly is fuel. I stopped craving crappy food and started to crave healthy food. I honestly only gave myself 3 months. I started this journey with the thought that I was going to fail. It's your brick wall. That's how much faith I had in the process. I lost 50 pounds in 2 months and decided that maybe I was worth it. She's being opened up to a new possibility. It hasn't been easy, of course not. There have been rough days, days I was sore and wanted to be like everyone else and eat whatever I wanted, and days where I just didn't think I could stomach another bite of a vegetable. But when I compare my before pictures to my current pictures, I realize that I am worth it. I deserve to be healthier, happier, and an overall better person. Taking back control of my weight has become so much more than a number on a scale. More than the size of my clothes or the inches I have lost. It was about getting my life back. My first aha moment was when the seatbelt clicked in September. I was in the emergency row and the seatbelt clicked. I teared up after they shut the lights off. Most importantly, I survived Disney. I conquered Disney. I rode every ride I wanted to with room to spare in the safety bars. I walked miles a day without pain. I went to both of my gyms on vacation without hesitation or a second thought. I was present, joyful, and excited to make such amazing memories with my family. Thank you again, Erica. The last thing I want to do, I want you to picture it. This is one more way that you can open up your mind and your mindset to new possibilities. I want you to take 1 minute to close your eyes and imagine what you want in the future, what you look like, what you think like, who you're with, what you're doing, what type of activities. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you see? Imagine it. Picture it. Take a minute. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. The reason this is important is because you can connect pleasure actually in your brain. You can create a synapse to the pleasure center of that activity, that reality, and feeling good. We do what feels good. We do what feels positive. So if we can connect positivity and pleasure to that reality, it'll make it easier to go for it. And that's the last thing I want to leave you with. Go for it. Do that action step on the wheel this week. Don't just make this a talk or think something goes in through one ear and out the other ear. Make that reality real for you in the present. Thank you for having me.
All right. Ooh, I grabbed the right one. So before we go to break, we're going to do our prizes. Are there any more bingo or crosswords that are completed? Fantastic. Bring them to Maggie.